I'm like, what's happening with me? Because first of all, that's not normal.
Our daughter, she was feeling fine until recently. Today she started throwing up and having diarrhea.
Today she woke up and she's feeling like she's having feeling like she's gonna get a nosebleed.
Tonight, in their own words, the very real health concerns for people living near the ITC facility.
Two teens, a high-powered rifle, a high-speed chase, and a school on lockdown. It did not end well for the suspects.
And a guy takes a swing at a local sheriff, but what he's actually punching lands him in our foolishness files. Right now, it might appear as if everything is okay in Deer Park, but if we've learned anything the past few days, it is how unpredictable this whole ordeal has been.
Today, residents living near the ITC facility were told to shelter in place after another release of the dangerous chemical benzene. Crews are constantly monitoring the air quality in the area, and at last check, things are looking good. But company officials have warned us a shift in the foam that is covering the benzene could happen again, allowing the toxic vapors to escape. Air 11 flew over the facility today as crews sprayed more foam on the tanks. They've been working as quickly and safely as possible to pump out the remaining liquid and transfer it to another tank so they don't have to rely on the foam to keep the benzene contained anymore.
So what if it does happen again? Will you get the warning you need? Some people reach out to us today saying they had no idea there was a shelter in place until they tried to go to work. Grace White went to find out what went wrong and what you can do to stay informed. Grace?
Here's what happened last night while many of you were sleeping. Around 2:54, ITC reported elevated levels of benzene. Then around 3:23, they issued a shelter in place. The city of Deer Park followed at 5 a.m. asking people to stay indoors. And at 6:48, Reddy Harris emailed an alert. The shelter in place was lifted around lunchtime at 11:40. But it's that lag time people are so concerned about.
Everyone needs to shelter in place.
We heard from people who didn't hear the sirens in Deer Park, and we've since learned 2 of them were down and are scheduled to be replaced. Here's why that alert system is so important. Tonight, new numbers from ITC show between 4 and 8 a.m. there were 51 benzene detections, with a peak of 10.55 parts per million. That's almost 5 times ITC's own threshold for what's safe. Harris County Precinct 2 Commissioner Adrian Garcia says something has to change.
I have very, very low confidence in ITC. I have been probably the most vocal person to say that I'm frustrated as to how they've handled this.
Garcia told us it's still an active scene out there, and there's always the possibility what happened last night could happen again. If you're worried about not hearing those sirens, you can go to KHOU.com. You can sign up to get a text or a phone call when there's an emergency. Mia.
So what is benzene, the chemical that everybody is so worried about? Benzene is found in crude oil and is a major part of gasoline. It's also a carcinogen. In simple terms, it's known to cause cancer, mainly leukemia. During the refining process, benzene is extracted from crude oil, then stored to make other products like plastics, dyes, detergents, rubber, drugs, and pesticides. Most of us are exposed to it in small amounts every day, just by breathing. Everything from car fumes on our daily commute to cigarette smoke, industrial emissions, and even a wood log fire. But levels inside your home might even be higher. We're talking about things like glue, paint, furniture wax, and detergents can all have benzene. So what's so alarming about what happened at ITC is the amount that was released. The toxic fumes coming from the chemical storage facility are evaporating at ground level, making those who live closest to the site at greatest risk.
Tomorrow, environmental groups and researchers say they will collect water samples from Galveston Bay. They are going to test what pollutants might be flowing into the water. We won't know the test results for a few weeks.
There's been a lot of confusion today about why benzene is more of a concern now than during the fire. Harris County Public Health did a good job spelling it out with this graphic. When the fire was raging, benzene was being pushed up into the air with the heat and quickly evaporating. But now that it's being covered by a foam sealant, if any vapors get through, There's no heat and very little wind to disperse the vapors, so they linger closer to the ground longer.
So let's check on that wind as we take a live look toward the Galleria area.
All right, so David, how is the wind tonight? What can we expect tomorrow?
Very, very calm conditions outside right now. In fact, the winds really began to settle down late this afternoon. Looking outside right now, very calm in Cleveland, Conroe, Tomball, Pearland, closer to the site of the fire, or what was the fire near Deer Park. Winds are out of the north, very light. 5-mile-an-hour wind at Bush, 7-mile-an-hour wind at Hobby, and in between that, it's between 3 and 5 miles an hour. So things are very, very calm. And as you just explained, that can allow those vapors to kind of gather near the site. So we're monitoring all of that. Current winds very light, north breeze at 3 to 5 miles an hour right across the Deer Park area. What about tomorrow? Well, things are going to change. Now, this is early tomorrow morning. Winds will be very calm in the morning, very light and variable, not moving around much at all. However, as we head into the afternoon tomorrow, this is 3:30 on Friday, winds come out of the south and they'll increase at 8 to 10 to 12 miles an hour. So that's when the wind is forecast to pick up next in that opposite direction coming out of the south. So calm winds overnight. South breeze on Friday. That south breeze should last through the weekend, and we've got rain chances for the weekend, and we'll take a closer look at that coming up in just a few minutes.
We'll see you then, Dave. Thanks. Plenty of people who live nearby are very worried about their health after all they've been breathing this week. Larry Seward caught up with them at a free clinic today to hear their concerns in their own words.
It just started yesterday, the symptom that I have. Yeah, my head is hurting and my eyes been watering and my nose been running. I'm like, what's happening with me? I'll be 59 years old next month. I never experienced nothing like this before. What's going on now in the area, you never know how it's going to affect me for years to come. I'm concerned at least 6. It's on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'd say 8 or 9. Our daughter, she was feeling fine until recently. Today she started throwing up and having diarrhea.
I mean, we were going to shelter in place, and then as soon as I opened our bedroom door, I could smell it, and I mean, there's no point in sheltering in place if it's inside the house.
So she's only 1.5 years old, and it's kind of scary.
Just trying to stay calm, but just scared.
We noticed this was the only place looking at kids now.
Well, the wait is getting longer and longer just because more people are coming in. I think right now they're on 72 and we're number 141. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing here because they know what they're looking for and they know what kind of chemicals were exposed out into the air. My wife, she doesn't have a real strong immune system. She's been real ill the last couple of days. You know, recently I just left the last company I was working for, so I don't have health insurance right now. And so it was a concern because I was like, man, where are we going to take her? We just moved here, and then now, this happens. That's the air we breathe. That's the air my children breathe. So it's a big concern because you want to make sure that everybody in your family stays healthy.
So adorable. You hope they're okay.
Yeah, trying to remain calm there, that mother said. It is hard facing all of this. By the way, that mobile clinic will be back out at the Jimmy Burke Activity Center in Deer Park tomorrow from 2 p.m. until 7.
And if you're experiencing any symptoms, you can also check the Ask My Nurse hotline and talk to a healthcare professional. The number 713-634-1110. Open, you see, 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. 7 days a week. Several school districts near the facility not taking any chances. They're staying closed tomorrow. There's the list. It includes Deer Park ISD, LaPorte, Pasadena, Channelview, Sheldon, and Galena Park. We have the entire list on KHOU.com. More districts may decide to close overnight, so be sure to wake up with H-Town Rush starting at 4:30 to get the very latest information.
Now to breaking news in North Harris County. A boy has died after an accident at church. Sources tell us the victim is only 5 years old. We don't know exactly what happened, but deputies tell us some sort of shelving unit fell on the boy. This happened at the Signs and Wonders Apostolic Outreach Church on the Beltway near Ella. We have a crew on the scene and we'll let you know as soon as we learn more. These two men, accused of a drive-by shooting on Lamarck Sunday, led police on a wild chase today. At one point, the cars were going 115 miles per hour. It ended with the suspect's car flipped over in a ditch in Dickinson. Isaac Brown and Cameron Tucker were first spotted in Texas City along I-45, but they drove off as soon as a deputy tried to stop them. Officers say the two were switching back and forth behind the driver's wheel in the middle of the chase. After crashing the car, Tucker was arrested, but Brown took off running, causing a lockdown at Dickinson High. That was lifted, and Brown was found around 5. Quite the ordeal.
A lot going on.